Hello, ghosties. I'm Chance Lee.
And I'm Amanda McAvoy.
And this is That's So Gothic, a movie podcast about girls, guys, and haunted houses. And haunted drones. This is now a podcast about haunted drones. Because we're going to talk about the 2019 comedy horror, The Drone.
Welcome home. Easy, bud. Easy.
I'm never gonna guess what I just found in the trash.
Drone.
You can't fly these in the house. It's dangerous.
I haven't touched that thing today, babe.
The drone moves around the house by itself. First it's here, then it's there. Chris, I'm telling you, the drone was operating the TV.
Wait. Now the TV's in on this? What's going on over there?
Your next door neighbor was found murdered.
Murdered?
You account for your whereabouts last night?
The drone. He's been acting a little funny.
Looks like your remote is not paired with your drone, which is weird because it shouldn't be flying.
In 0.1 miles, you will die.
The drone is controlling itself. Our drone is trying to kill us.
Excuse me, what now is trying to kill you?
Our drone.
Come out and play, you little son of a bitch. Chris, that tickles.
Did you say something?
Released in 2019, The Drone was directed by Jordan Rubin and written by Rubin, Al Kaplan, and Jon Kaplan. It stars Alex Essoe as Rachel, a newlywed, John Brotherton as Chris, her husband and drone enthusiast, and Anita Bream as Corinne, their horny neighbor. And and an icon, like I love her so much. This is the story of a young couple being terrorized by a drone possessed by the soul of a serial killer.
Yeah.
Obviously. So according to Box Office Mojo, the drone made $20,000 in Vietnam and $26,000 in Russia. They probably saw this as like a how-to movie, honestly. But they're like, oh, how do we pull this off? Putin is trying to transfer his consciousness into a drone as we speak. But there's no financial statistics for the United States because this was direct to streaming in the good old US of A.
Although it would have made a killing in theaters. We would have been front row.
I would have loved to have seen this in a theater.
Yeah.
RogerEbert.com did not review this movie at all, shockingly, but it has an 80% critical tomato on Rotten Tomatoes. Bright red, fresh tomato.
Like this, Citizen Kane.
Yeah, and that's because it was reviewed by 5 publications and 4 liked it.
They played their odds correctly.
Yes, and the one negative review, I only read the blurb. It says, quote, "If there's a serious point being made about voyeurism and the lack of privacy in contemporary society, it's lost."
Correct. Yes.
Exactly. I agree. And that's why this is that would be a positive to me that there is no serious point being made. But one of the positive reviews written by someone named Chuck Foster for Film Threat, he says, "The drone is silly entertainment with some fun kills. It doesn't ask to be taken seriously." And I love this part. "It just wants us to smile." And We
So
need
heartwarming.
more of these. I agree. The drone just wants to make us happy.
Yeah, it's so heartwarming. It's like a big cup of tomato soup.
My new
Yeah.
cozy film, The Drone. And then most of the Google reviews are negative,
Mm.
and even the positive ones, I feel like they're sarcastic positive ones. And this one I couldn't tell if it was a positive or a negative review. They gave it 5 stars, but I don't know how serious they are because I would say this seriously. And their review is, "I like it when the drone is in love with the woman." That's the whole review.
Yeah. Yeah, nailed it.
And I loved that part too.
That was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So speaking of the woman is played by Alex Essoe.
Mhm.
I've seen her in a couple of things, and I
Oh, really?
just find her very captivating. Like that, she's
Hmm.
part of the reason why I watched this movie. Um, she's in this really gross horror movie called Starry Eyes.
Ooh.
Um, and she plays Wendy Torrance in the flashbacks of Doctor Sleep. So she plays the Shelley
Oh,
Duvall character.
interesting. Yeah, she kind of has that vibe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Modern Shelley Duvall, I think.
Mm,
And she's in the Mike Flanagan sphere, but I don't
really?
watch a lot of those, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if I've seen her in anything.
She's in Bly Manor, I think, seemed to be the most
Oh,
episodes of something she was in.
interesting.
And her husband is played by John Brotherton. He
Hmm.
was on Fuller House, so he can do anything if he can pretend to be in love with Candace Cameron Bure, so he can just
Is that what he was?
Best actor. Yeah, he was one of her love interests. And I say that just for a cheap joke. I actually will admit to the worldwide audience that listens to us that I love Candace Cameron Bure. She's
Really?
I don't know why. I feel like she
Yeah.
would hate me just because I am a homosexual, but
Yeah.
or she would tolerate me. She would
Yeah.
tolerate me with her Christian love. But
Right.
I don't know. I find her really charming, and I love that she's just like a horny Bible thumper. Like she's
Mm,
so horny and she loves the Bible, and
yes.
I just find that an interesting combination. She's basically like, God gave me a vagina so my husband could just fuck me. I don't know if she'd say the F word, but
Yeah.
God invented
Yeah.
that word too, so she might. I don't know.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I can't say I have a strong opinion on her or Fuller House. Um, but now I'm very interested. I
Well,
love that.
he's also in a lot of Hallmark movies, and I wonder if
Oh,
she helped bring him over because she was a Hallmark queen for a while.
yeah, 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 definitely. I am not a Hallmark person. My father is though, so I'll have to
Oh,
ask him if he knows this actor.
he's in at least one Christmas movie that was popping up on their
Mm,
recent feed.
interesting. Yeah, he's a handsome fellow.
I found myself irresistibly attracted to him in this movie. I don't know what mood I was in. I must have been ovulating or something because I was just like, I need this man. Like, I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
More than my I mean, I would like to say I'm playing it up for jokes, but I'm not. My horny
Yeah.
oh, look at this hot guy in the movies because I really do feel that way. But this
Yeah.
was like a deep, deep yearning for this man that I was
Yeah.
feeling. The drone awakened something in me.
Well, I think too, he's just such he's a lovable goofball, he's a fully committed husband,
Mhm.
he's got a lot of great boxes going for him.
And I like as an actor, he's really committed to the bit. He's great for this part.
Yes,
This ridiculous source material. I think he plays it perfectly.
he does.
And speaking of playing it perfectly, we have
Oh,
Corinne, the horny neighbor. I already forgot her name. She has not yet been given a breakout role, looking at her
what?
IMDb, which is a crime.
This should have been her breakout role.
It should have been. She has to me, big Kristen Chenoweth energy.
Yeah, I could see that. But like even sluttier.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Well, Kristen Chenoweth has I think she's a little Christian too. So, but I feel like
Mm,
this woman's like, no, heathen Kristen
yeah.
Chenoweth.
It's like
Mhm.
Kristen Chenoweth did Wicked, and this woman could do like burlesque. Like she's the burlesque
Oh.
version of
Mhm.
Kristen Chenoweth. Yeah, she's
Yes.
incredible.
Yeah, we'll get into her scenes in the plot summary, but
Hmm.
her first scene in this movie, like, I think is legit fantastic. Like, just we'll talk about it when we get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then we have the director. So another reason I wanted to watch this movie is because this director also did Zombeavers,
Mm.
which is a movie that I am very fond of. Zombeavers at least has a Wikipedia page. The Drone,
Oh,
Another Crime, does not.
what the hell?
Yeah, the Sean Bean Drone movie has a Wikipedia page. And there's not
Goodness.
even like, did you mean the Drone 2019, at the top?
Yeah, yeah,
It has
yeah.
no
Wow.
presence.
That
Rude.
is so rude. It's like
Mhm.
Wikipedia didn't even want to acknowledge its existence, and I think that's very cruel.
I'm gonna say next time that ad pops up that's like, give us $3,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, I'll give you $3 if you make a page for the Drone.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't feel bad for ignoring them anymore.
Mm-mm. No.
Yeah.
Where's my $3 going if not to maintain the page for the Drone? Like, they should have sponsored pages on Wikipedia,
Yes.
we're
Oh
like
my God.
and I would totally sponsor the Drone page.
The Drone sponsored by That's So Gothic podcast.
Oh my God, it would be our official, yeah, it'd be like a little ad
Yes.
for us
Oh
and
my God.
supporting the Drone.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, I don't know if they would, approve of that because they're like,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Mm.
they think they have integrity and all this stuff, but someday they'll need money and
Yes.
we'll be able to hop
So
on that.
badly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But other than Zombeavers, I didn't know anything about this guy. I guess he was a
Uh-huh.
stand-up comedian in the 90s or the
Hmm.
late 90s to mid 2000s. He had a half-hour Comedy Central special in 2008,
Ooh.
and he wrote the opening for the 83rd Annual Academy Awards in 2011. And I thought, which one was that? And that's the one with Anne Hathaway and James Franco hosting.
Oh, that one was really terrible, wasn't it?
People hated that one, yeah. I kinda
Yeah.
checked out by that point, but
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh,
I think
that
people both
doesn't
hated
bode
it
well.
and were in the, like, just hating Anne Hathaway for no reason phase also, which made it,
Yeah.
like, double hated.
And I think too, I remember it as the two of them, Anne Hathaway and James Franco, were just very awkward together. I don't know if it had that much to do with the actual material.
Yeah, he was, like, stoned and looked like
Yeah.
he didn't wanna be there, and Anne Hathaway, consummate professional, was
Yes.
100% committed, and it's really hard to be committed when your scene partner is not.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
So
hitting the
let's not
tennis
blame.
ball over the net,
Yes.
and it's not
And
coming
just no
back.
one. Right.
Yeah.
So Anne Hathaway and this director, blameless.
Blameless. No,
Yeah.
Jordan, I forgot his name. Jordan Rubin, Blameless.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you like uh cheesy movies like The Drone, I highly recommend Zombeavers. Group
Mm.
of horny college students go out into the woods to go camping, and the beavers have been contaminated with toxic waste and have turned into zombies,
Wonderful.
and they are Zombeavers,
Zombeavers. I love that.
and John
Hmm.
Mayer is in it.
Does he die?
No,
Oh, I won't
he's
watch it then.
responsible for it. He's in the car with the
Oh.
other guy. They're the toxic waste drivers. He's not driving though.
Oh, interesting. I really
Yeah.
hate him. I
Oh,
mean,
really?
oh, I hate him. And it's not even because I'm a Taylor Swift fan. I just hate his face. I hate his aura. I've never been a fan. I think I bought one
Mm.
album of his and I really tried to get into it because one of my best friends is a huge John Mayer fan. Could not do it. I do not like him. Something about him always skeeved me out.
I could see
I think
that.
it's his mouth. Something
Mm.
weird. His lips are too defined. It freaks me out.
Now I'm gonna Google John Mayer lips.
Yeah, there's something about them. It freaks me out. And I don't think I've ever seen him act in anything, and I don't know that I would want to.
Yeah, he has like I don't know what the part like under your
Yeah.
cheeks is called, or like if he was
Yeah.
a ventriloquist dummy, it would be colored in with black lines, but it's really sharp on his
Yeah.
face.
And I
Yeah.
think his Cupid's bow is like just too,
It's pointy.
yeah, it's too lined. I don't know.
It is
I
very
don't,
defined. Yeah.
yeah. So I'll watch Zombeavers, but I will pretend that John Mayer dies in it at least.
He's only in the beginning, and I actually find him really funny in it, so I apologize
Okay.
for that
Okay.
crime
Well, maybe
that I've
I'll give him
committed.
a second chance. Maybe this will change my opinion of him.
So if Zombeavers can't do it, nothing will.
That'll be his breakout role for me.
Mhm. So let's get into the drone. So we open with a sexy woman in her underpants being
Mhm.
spied on by a drone.
Ooh.
And we follow and just for those who have not seen the movie that are listening, it's a drone. Like it's just a
Yeah.
drone. It's like they got it like literally you can buy this drone for like $300 on the internet. It's that
Yes.
drone.
Yeah. It's my dad one year for Christmas asked for a drone, and I'm pretty sure we got him one from Walgreens. This drone is like a step up from that. Like it's that one broke in maybe a month. Um, this one has a little bit more fortitude, but it's four little
Mhm.
shoots right up in the air. That's it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's got the little controller.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so so we watched the drone and it's like they're probably when I think about it, they're probably filming this movie with a drone filming another drone. You know, there's
Oh, that's
probably
so funny.
2 drones. They're doing these tracking shots of the drone, which
Yeah,
is
I didn't even think of
Scorsese
that.
sit down. Like that's just masterful filmmaking.
It's true.
Has
Drone on
Scorsese
drone,
used 2 drones? I doubt it.
right? Like, what's that show, Actors on Actors? This is drones on drones.
Drones on drones. Also probably a porn. Oh my goodness. So the drone returns to its owner,
Mhm.
who is this serial killer whose performance is ridiculously over the top.
This is like my favorite 10 minutes or so, like in cinema. The way this man delivers this performance, he has this incredibly strange, indistinguishable accent, like it's kind of Russian.
Yes.
Yeah, he says like you'll do just fine. Like about it's so bizarre. It's I love this scene though.
He's ridiculous, and it's like someone told him to act like Brad Dourif at the beginning of Child's Play, but
Yes.
like but he doesn't maybe he's seen it, but it's been a while. He probably saw it once in the theater and it's just
Yes.
like going ham.
Yes. Yeah. He fully commits and it is incredible.
Yes. Yeah, he's at 11.
Yeah.
And you have to be to get your consciousness transferred into a drone, which is what
Yeah.
happens when
Right.
the cops show up. And first he like snorts all of the coke that's just on the
Oh my God.
table.
I love it. And he
Like bobbing
delivers
for apples. Just
he delivers maybe my favorite line in the movie. Are you gonna say it? The one I don't even know if you'll he snorts all this cocaine and then he just yells, fuck, I need to call an Uber.
Yes.
The FBI pounding on his door.
Yes.
It's my favorite line of the whole movie.
Oh my God, I love that. Yeah, it's
Haven't we
like
all been, you know, I'm not a drug user, but I have been, at a bar doing shots and been like, fuck, I need to call an Uber. So I get it. I've been there.
yeah, especially when you've got a murder victim in the corner,
That's
you
true.
better hope they come
Mm-hmm.
fast and there's no
Got to
surge
get out of there.
pricing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Gets an
the
Uber
SWAT
XL.
yeah, he's got to get the no shared rides for this guy.
Yes. No, 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 no. Uber
Although that
Black.
would be really funny if he got the shared one and you're like in the car with him.
Honestly, I should do shared rides more because I feel like you would meet some really fun people that way.
I have thought about it. Weirdly, whenever I look, they seem to take longer, and I'm just always in a
Huh.
hurry.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Huh. Yeah, next time maybe I'll just do it like a jaunt around the block. Just ask for a shared ride.
Yeah,
Just
just on
pick
like a
me up.
Saturday with nothing else to do.
Yeah, just do a couple laps and then bring me home.
Yeah, where are you going? Yeah.
Just
Oh,
let
I
me
can't
ride
wait to
around in your Uber.
hear who you meet.
I
So
meet this guy.
well, unfortunately, he never gets the drone.
No.
The SWAT team breaks down the door, and then he gets chased to the roof of his apartment building, and there's a lightning storm, and he just starts going 0, 0, 1, 1, 0. And one of the SWAT agents goes, "He's speaking binary."
Because what is that? It's binary. Oh my
Like that's a
God.
thing people speak, like Elvish or anything. Like you speak binary. And so he gets struck by lightning while he's holding the drone, and then we get the
Yeah.
title card, the drone. And so the cops come, they give the drone to the detective, who's played by Simon Rex.
Yes.
Like,
I love this part because, we'll talk about the entire scene, but I was like, what is he doing here? Like, he's fairly well known.
I know it's insane that he just shows up, and
Yeah.
he has this unhinged conversation with his daughter, who presumably is very young, but is clearly
Yeah.
being voiced by an adult doing a child voice, saying
Yes.
like, "I hope he rots in hell, daddy."
Yeah. Mommy says he can't get it up. This was the part where I wasn't sure if they were trying to be serious or not. I was like, what is I'm so confused.
Yeah, the whole shtick is like this cop has been saying lots of things he shouldn't around the young daughter, and she just knows
Yeah.
everything about this case.
Yes.
And so, unfortunately, we only get him in this one scene because the drone lights up,
Yeah.
starts spinning, and it scares him, and he crashes.
Yes.
And then the drone will eventually fly off and land in this trash can in this very nice neighborhood where this new couple is moving in. We see the smoking husband, who's also smoking hot.
Yeah.
And she says that he should quit smoking, and he says nobody likes a quitter, which was just a cute line to me.
Yeah.
Because everything he says, I'm just like, oh, I love him.
I know.
We meet their dog, Hector,
Mm-hmm.
and we get our first little jump scare when Corinne, the slutty neighbor, pops up behind that Rachel is washing dishes, and the slutty neighbor
Yeah.
pops up at the window aside, and she comes in and introduces herself to them, and Rachel says, "We just got married," and Corinne looks at her and goes, "You look married." And like those her like deadpan lines and her shade is so good.
Yeah. They say something like the couple says, oh, we've been married for like 10 months or something, and Corinne goes, oh, not long enough to know that you actually hate each other or something. And then the girl goes, I can usually tell right away when I don't like someone.
Yes.
Corinne, I like this one.
Yes. Their dynamic is better than this type of movie deserves. Like I find this just legit good stuff like in this
Yeah.
movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so good. Yeah. And like when she goes to leave, she's like, oh, you can visit whenever. And then she points at the wife and is like, and you too. Like,
Yes, and then the wife goes to the husband, she goes, "I can come too." Like, just like very
yeah.
it just feels oddly real for this type of
Yes.
campy movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, she's such a good character.
She is an absolute treat, and we'll get
Hmm.
another good scene with her later.
Hmm.
In the meantime, we've got the husband. He's in this very nice sleeveless shirt and gray sweatpants, like my favorite outfit on a man. And he finds the drone in the trash can, and the wife doesn't really like it, but she decides to let him keep it.
Hmm.
So he goes to the store to buy a new remote, and the there's this really bad tacky joke, but I can't help but laugh at it, where the black guy at the tech store says, "White or black?" And Chris, the husband, is like, I'm sure they're equal." And he's like, "I was talking about the remotes."
It was just like such an unnecessary joke thrown in there, but it was so good.
And I really like the guy at the drone shop too. He gets a good scene later as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
He's funny.
so the drone, once he gets the remote, they go home to fly the drone around, and they
Hmm.
spy on the couple next door who's fighting,
Hmm.
and the couple sees them, and so he tries to fly the drone away and crashes it. But then at night, while Chris and Rachel are in bed, the drone spies on them, and it'll have all this text on the screen, and it says human coitus,
Didn't notice that.
which I find really funny because I mean it is technically a human in there, so I don't know,
Yeah.
he knows what's happening, but um so the next morning, Chris, best husband ever, makes Rachel breakfast in bed.
Hmm.
Um, even though the toast is burnt, he tried.
Burnt. Yep.
And she gets out of the shower and the drone is right there, bzz,
Yeah.
outside the shower. And the husband swears he didn't do it.
Hmm.
And so the drone, we get another scene of the drone kind of like flying around the house while they're not there.
Yeah.
And so the drone focuses on a photo of the happy married couple. And I had to pause it and write down everything that's on the screen because the screen prints out a lot of text
Uh-huh.
very quickly and then cuts away.
Yeah.
So here's what the drone says when it looks at the photo: romantic entanglement, false sense of security. They
Ooh.
call each other bae. These two make me sick. What I wouldn't give to have my arms and legs back. Do robots dream of electric sheep? I sure don't. The drone model I am in will look dated when someone watches this film in a few years.
Oh my God. Oh, that's so good. I love how self-aware they are.
Yes, it was such a treat, and that's there for literally like a second. Like I had to
Yeah.
pause it, and like I had to keep unpausing it and pausing it because
Yeah.
they'll scroll and then immediately cut away, and I had to time it just
Oh,
right.
that's so
Um,
good.
so then the drone goes to take photos of Corinne sunbathing by the pool. And then the drone spends some time like looking at itself in the mirror, and the dog keeps barking at the drone.
Hmm.
And so they decide they're gonna put the dog outside because the dog is
So rude.
barking too much.
Yeah.
And the dog's a really good actor too. The dog looks so sad.
It does. Yeah. I know. It's a very like downtrodden little dog.
I
Well, it's not
know.
little, it's a big ol' what is that called? A golden retriever, I think?
Sure, I'm really bad
Yeah.
with dog breeds.
Yeah, I'm actually not
It's a
great
cute
either.
dog though.
It's cute, and I think it's older. It's very sweet,
Mhm.
has like very wide
Mhm.
set eyes. Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
good doggy. Poor,
We get the
poor
feeling they've
Hector outside.
had the dog for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So the wife then has this flashback about a remote control car that will come into play later. But her daydreaming gets interrupted by the drone breaking a vase. And
mhm.
so while she's cleaning up the vase, the drone uploads the videos of Corinne sunbathing to the computer to make it look
Yes.
like Chris is doing it.
Yes. In
And
a
so,
folder called named Rachel, so she won't miss it.
oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Appreciate
So
that.
they invite Corinne over for dinner,
Hmm.
and by the time the movie catches up with them at dinner, she's already drunk. And um, so while they're having dinner, the drone is looking up no-kill animal shelters and all these things on the
Yeah.
computer to try to add this to Chris's search history.
Very
And
smart.
you also see off to the side that the drone has been playing online chess and like checking the serial killer's Facebook page.
I didn't notice that part.
Yeah. He was playing online chess when he was snorting coke too, and when the SWAT team came.
Oh, he's got to keep his hobbies up.
The moral of the story is never trust a guy who plays online chess.
True, true.
Mhm. So the dinner gets progressively more aggressive, and Rachel eventually calls out Chris for photographing Corinne.
Yeah.
And he's like, I didn't do it. And Rachel storms out. And so this is when Chris tells Corinne Rachel's big secret.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that she once drove a remote control car into the street and someone swerved to avoid it and the whole family died. And she's
So
never
now
liked remote controls since.
it's so baffling. Oh, I love the explanation though. I love it so much because I think I the impression I had gotten up until this point was that she didn't like drones because it seemed like her. Did we address this yet? That's her ex in the. Did we?
I don't know. So I haven't mentioned it because I don't know if they've mentioned it yet in the
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
So my impression was that it's kind of implied though, because like he's looking for a redhead and she has red hair, which I kind of didn't believe, but she does. Um, and so I just thought it was because he liked drones so much, but then they do this convoluted thing, and also he apparently was goading her into driving the car. It's this whole, and a mother and children died. Oh, it's incredible. What a great backstory.
I love that, not to read too much into the drone, but
Yeah.
so many of these movies, when they're even serious movies, give these characters a backstory. We don't need a backstory. She can just say she didn't
Right.
like drones. And so I
Yeah.
love that they're like, you know what, let's just give a ridiculous fucking backstory
Ridiculous. She killed a mother and children
with a remote control car,
with a remote control
like a tiny
car.
one.
Yeah. Yeah. Naturally.
And
There's
she
a
is
place, quick side note, there is a place on my way to my hairdresser's two separate times. Two separate times. It's a mechanic shop and it's in not to like dox myself too much, but it's pretty far from where I live. It's in the city Lawrence, and there's a lot of areas in Lawrence with like very narrow streets, and it's a mechanics on a narrow street. Two separate times, a toy car has come zipping out of there in front of me, and I've had to slam on my brakes. And it's like I've grown to like expect it now. I'm like, where's the toy? I feel like I'm driving in friggin' Mario Kart every time I'm going to the hairdressers now. So
this is
I get it.
you better be careful. You could be the victim, and then someone
I
else is going to have the exact tragic backstory from the
And if anyone
drone.
is going to have a tragic backstory, I want it to be me. I want to live this. I want the hot husband.
You could swerve into the mechanic shop and run someone over
There we go.
because of a
Okay.
remote car. And then
Yeah.
another mechanic would be a hot husband. You'll have the
Yeah.
tragic backstory
Yeah.
and the hot husband.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Perfect.
We're going to manifest this into reality.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So in the movie, Rachel is pissed that Chris told her tragic backstory to their slutty neighbor. And so she flips out and is like, you need to leave. And she tells Corinne that he's been, photographing her and everything. But before Corinne leaves, she says, you can shoot me anytime, even without my permission. It's okay.
She gets so close to him. Like she's like in the crook of his neck. It's so uncomfortable. I love her so much.
She's great. We'll get one more scene with her, I believe,
Mhm.
later on. So Chris and Rachel go to bed angry, and sadly, the drone hunts down the dog
Yeah.
and lures the dog over the fence, where it jumps over the fence and then is strangled by its lead. And the movie loves to just zoom in on this fake dead dog's face.
Yes. I almost always will turn off a movie if a dog dies. Like I can't handle it. But like obviously I wanted to finish one for the podcast and I was like, it's such a cheaply made movie. They're not gonna show anything. Like they're not gonna like harp on this. It is so obviously fake, like it's really not that bad. But I couldn't believe like how much focus they put on this dead dog doll carcass and
Yeah.
it was honestly kind of bizarre. Like it was like a I couldn't look away thing.
It's because this doesn't happen, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
Again, this movie is doing something that you don't normally see.
Yeah. Innovative.
Oh, the drone. Yes, fresh, fresh take. So, so Rachel ends up blaming like the drone,
Mhm.
and Chris for bringing in the drone, and they get into this little fight, um, and he goes off to work, and she stays home. And this part killed me because the drone starts controlling the TV, and the TV just keeps showing her all these videos of cute dogs running in slow motion.
Happy dogs. It's so cruel.
And then the drone shows like random footage to make a
Yeah.
sentence. So it'll show like Rachel McAdams and someone going, Rachel, and then someone else going, don't cry, and then I love you.
I love technology. It's also a very old video of Rachel McAdams, like even old for 2019. Like it
I was like,
was,
why are they showing Rachel McAdams? I didn't make the
yeah,
connection at first.
Rachel.
And so Rachel immediately is like, oh, this is my dead boyfriend
Yeah.
who loved technology and is now in a drone. And she shows Chris all this drone footage, and he thinks that it must be the controller.
Hmm.
So that'll come up later. But the alarm interrupts their argument, and the drone ends up locking Chris out of the house because they're running to
Hmm.
get out of the house. But as he goes, it like shuts the security door, and then it flies at Rachel, but it misses her and it hits the door, which turns off the security. So the drone is now gone crazy in front of them.
Yes.
And so back at the shop, the clerk, whose name is Philippe, he realizes that the remote wasn't even paired properly. This is the scene where they find that Chucky has no batteries. You know, this is like
Yeah.
straight out of that.
Yes.
And so you were like, dun dun dun. So Chris goes home, but the drone takes control of his car
Hmm.
and says, and it's like speeding through this suburban neighborhood
Yeah.
and talking like it's talking through his GPS. And it
Hmm.
says, in 2.1 miles, you will die, motherfucker, which I liked.
Oh,
And
poor Chris.
so they end up like, I think they call the cops. Or no, sorry. So the cops show up the next day, and
Yeah.
they're on their gorgeous balcony watching the cops and just sharing a smoothie while
Yeah.
watching this happen. And and that's because last night I missed this part. So Corinne is just like moving and grooving around her house.
Yeah.
She's got some headphones on. She's eating leftover Chinese food. She's
Yeah.
boogieing around. And this is like that Exorcist 3 scare that they did in
Yes.
the Black
The
Christmas
hallway
movie.
with yeah.
Yeah, because she's just kind of moving and doing things, and all of a sudden the drone just flies out and like
Yeah.
cut to black. And so we know Corinne is dead. And so the cops come because they think that Chris may have killed Corinne. And so
Hmm.
they take him down to the station, and Rachel goes to the computer to delete the evidence. So she's deleting the photos from the computer. At this point, there is a Zombeavers.mov file on the desktop, which I loved that
Oh,
little shout out.
little Easter egg.
Yes. And so it turns out that the drone has been emailing the police, basically saying that Chris did it. And so he ends up being held at the police station.
Mhm.
And so Rachel goes back home and finds out that the drone has prepared a romantic evening for her. There's rose petals on the floor, there's candles lit. The drone is ready to seduce her.
Yes. And who
And
wouldn't be
so
seduced?
and so this leads to a little action scene where, she starts fighting the drone with a broom. And
Mhm.
I love how the drone flies by and cuts half her top off. Like she
Yes.
goes from having a full-on shirt to just a crop top for the next like 20 minutes. She's just running
Yeah,
around in this thing.
it's great.
It's so funny. And like the drone drags her by the hair across the
Yeah.
floor. We get the Alien 3 parody where she's against the wall like Sigourney Weaver, and the
Yeah.
drone is coming in like the alien. And what I love about this is then she just grabs the drone and slams it on the ground because it's a
Yeah.
drone.
Right. It's not very big.
It's a little drone.
Yeah. This
Mhm.
isn't Obama era drone. This is
That's dark.
fantastic.
I love
I
that. Yeah, this is not a
know. Might have
military
been
grade drone. This
insensitive.
is a
Yeah.
civilian drone. No, it's
Yes.
true though.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what the Sean Bean drone is about.
Mm.
So she stops the drone and then goes to meet Chris at the police station. And he's like, oh, but we need the drone because it's evidence. And then they go back to the house. The drone is gone.
Oh my God.
So I couldn't actually figure out who this guy was. I think, is he a private investigator that they
I think
hire?
so.
Okay.
Yeah. It's unclear.
It just happens. Like,
Yes.
he just shows up. And so they tell this guy about the drone. So this actor, I didn't get his name, but he's also in Zombeavers and really
Oh.
funny in that movie. I think he's so funny in this movie.
Yeah.
Just his deadpan delivery is great.
Yes.
And the fact that like he's like, okay, you're paying me, I'll believe you that this drone is
Right.
trying to kill you.
Yeah.
So that night, Rachel is laying in bed, and Chris is like under the sheets,
Yeah.
kind of pleasuring her, and then
Mhm.
she pulls back the sheet, and it's the drone,
It's the drone.
like on her lap, the blade spinning. Bzz. And so she wakes up and is like, oh,
Yeah.
and then she rolls over to Chris, and the drone's on the pillow.
Double take.
I love a dream within a dream.
Oh, so good. So Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, for sure. So we have Jason, Freddy, and now the drone, horror icon. Um, and so the drone ends up visiting like his brother, the serial killer's
Mhm.
brother, who plugs him into an iPhone so he can now talk.
Yes.
And the drone orders parts to repair him, and we get a little repairing montage of the
Yeah.
brother fixing up the drone.
The
And
best part
meanwhile,
of that. Oh, sorry. The best part of that is when the brother doesn't want to do it, the drone says, I set up your Wi-Fi. You have to do it. Equal. Aiding
he's
and
not
abetting
wrong.
a
Yeah.
murderer and setting up Wi-Fi. I have set up Wi-Fi before. I know how frustrating it is. So they are equal in my mind.
Anybody you've done that for owes you a big favor.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
Take that, mom and dad.
So, so meanwhile, the PI has been tracking the drone,
Mhm.
and he tells them like the neighborhood, the apartment building that it's been at. But the camera then pans out and shows that he's sitting on the toilet this whole time, and he's looking at the drone tracker, and the drone is getting closer and closer and
How?
closer. And so he gets up without even pulling up his pants and waddles over to the shower of all places,
Yeah.
and like pulls back the curtain, and nothing's there. But then he like leans into the shower. It's like, where is he looking?
Right. Where is it hiding?
And the drone presumably comes and just, I don't know, flies up his ass because we get like
Yeah.
a colonoscopy cam shot. And then the guy is just like sprayed with blood.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a really good scene.
Yeah.
And then the drone then texts the picture of the detective's corpse to Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they know they're in this alone. So they go to the brother's apartment. Well, Rachel goes because Chris doesn't want to go, and she's like, "We're going."
Mm-hmm.
And I love her assertiveness in this scene because the
Yeah.
guy's like, you can come in if you want to, and Chris is like, "No, that's fine." And Rachel's like, "I want to come in," and she like
Yeah.
pushes her way in. And so that's where she sees the photo of Ramsey, who's her serial killer ex-boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and knows that this guy is the brother. The brother attacks her, Chris, and
Mm-hmm.
then Rachel like jumps on his back and they get in
Yeah.
this big fight. And then he slams her on a table. And then Chris comes up with a drill and just
Yeah.
drills him in the chest.
It was I mean, this was coming right after the drone butt scene, so I wasn't, I guess, that shocked, but like it was still pretty shocking. The amount
What I
of
like,
gore in this movie is quite frankly impressive.
yes, they do have some good effects with this. The drill effect was
Yeah.
good. And what I liked about this too is that, again, I'm reading way into the drone too critically, but in a lot of scenes like this in a normal movie, they'll like hit the person over the head
Right.
and it doesn't do anything. And you're always like, just kill them. Like you always
Right.
think this person's trying to kill you, just kill them. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, Chris just drills right into his chest. It's like, yes. And again, that my man better drill into this guy's chest if I'm being attacked.
Right? Yeah. We don't need any frying pan hijinks. I need you to
No,
take a motorized drill into his rib cage.
I need at least one organ to be punctured
Absolutely.
or the
Absolutely.
relationship is over.
Yeah. It better have an extra long drill bit on it
Hmm.
because you need to go deep into there.
Yeah, that's true. They're probably deeper than you think.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to get through a lot.
Hmm. All the tissue and stuff. But
Yeah.
again, Chris, husband of the year,
Yep.
drills right into him. Then Rachel, like, they're still doing some struggling because he's like bleeding out. But the guy hits his head on the corner of the table and officially dies.
Yes. KO.
But now, of course, Chris is like, we just came into this man's apartment and killed him, and the police already think I'm a murder suspect. And they're
Mm-hmm.
not going to believe that we're trying to get a possessed drone. So, because Rachel's put all the pieces together and she's realized that Ramsey is the drone. And
Mm-hmm.
so they get back to the house and the drone is there somewhere. The drone has vandalized Rachel's office. It's like, bitch. And like, I'm going to kill you is all over the wall. And the cops show up probably thinking they're going to arrest Chris. But then the drone decapitates both of them in one swoop.
Yep. Just 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Rachel tries to warn them, but there they
Mhm.
go. And so the drone, so Chris and Rachel are cornered by the little drone, but then the drone starts to transform. And like there's this great transformation scene where like the wires are moving and the
Yeah,
blades are coming out. It's like a transformer.
it is.
And he turns into this monster drone that has like a little mouth and now it can talk.
Mm-hmm.
And by talking, it mostly just gives like bad one-liners, also like Chucky.
Yeah, of course. Why not?
Mhm. I also think have you ever seen Jack Frost, the murder one?
Yes. I always got that confused with there's another snowman movie that isn't scary that came out around the same time.
Also called
And I'm
Jack
pretty,
Frost
oh, is it? Yeah. And I think
with Michael
that I
Keaton.
watched the scary one as a child and I wasn't supposed to. Yeah, so it traumatized me.
I love the scary one. This movie gives heavy Jack Frost vibes, which is another
Mm,
reason I really liked it,
yeah.
where it's ridiculous. They know it's ridiculous, but the
Yes.
actors just you can see that they're having a good time.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it's a well done movie. I mean, like it's not one of those so bad it's good movies in the sense that the production is bad. Like it's actually enjoyable to watch.
Exactly. It achieves what they want it to achieve. I
Yeah.
agree with that reviewer. The drone just wants to make us smile.
It
And I
just
just
wants
want
to
to tell
make it
people
smile.
I'm a person who likes to have fun.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people don't like to have fun at the movies. Like
Right.
they just I don't know what they're expecting, but they're expecting something
Right.
serious and like
Yeah.
thought provoking. And I love that too. But
Right.
like when a movie just wants to be fun, I'm gonna have fun.
Exactly. Just let it be fun.
Let it be fun. So, speaking of fun, we get a lot of terrible quips in the last like 5 minutes of this movie. Rachel tries to fight off the drone with like another drone that she pulls out of a box. And
It's like Chris's older drone, and it was giving me like major Megan vibes. Like just
oh, yeah.
yeah, just
hmm
epic.
That's really true because at the end of Megan, like,
Mm-hmm.
not to spoil too much, but there's another robot on robot
Yeah.
action scene in that.
Yes.
The drone flew so Megan could dance.
That's true.
hmm
Yeah.
hmm So after the drone destroys the little drone, it says, I hope you got the extended warranty. And then they try to barricade themselves in the bathroom and it busts through just like The Shining.
Yep.
And then they end up, there's all this action struggle. Rachel ends up dousing it with paint thinner
Mm-hmm.
and says, Chris flicks the lighter and says, hey, asshole, I declare this house a no-fly zone, and then throws it at the drone.
Yeah, that one pocketed the whole movie.
That one's so good. And also, I think, thank God he never quit smoking.
Yes, exactly. Smoking saves lives.
I'm not a smoker, but I like weirdly love that this movie is pro smoking.
I might take up smoking now.
It could save you.
It could save you.
Yeah, because she tries to get him to quit like 3 or 4 times. I skipped over a part where she says to him in like a high tension moment, "You smell like cigarettes," and he's like, "This is not the time to talk about that." But yeah, thank God he didn't quit, so they
Yep.
can explode the drone. And so I wrote Alex, that's the actress's name. Rachel goes to call the ambulance, but then Chris looks at the drone and the binary is on the little lens. And next
Mm.
thing we know, Ramsey the serial killer has transferred from the drone into Chris.
No.
Oh, I was so upset.
Yeah.
The actor's physicality is really good because he starts acting like the
Mm.
hammy actor from the beginning.
Yes. Yeah. You can tell a change has happened.
Yes, he's very good at this, and
Hmm.
he immediately forces himself onto Rachel, and so she realizes that he's the drone, and
Yeah.
they get into a big physical struggle. He is choking her, and she jabs an electrical cord into his eyeball.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was so good. And he pulls it out and just has, like, this socket, this
Yeah.
gaping socket. Um, they end up struggling, and she pushes him off the balcony where he falls and lands on like the handle of the shovel that they used to bury the dog,
Yeah.
and it impales him.
He gets shish kebabbed.
And then he like opens his eyes, and in Chris's voice says Rachel, and she's like, Chris, and then he dies.
He dies.
And then that's the end of the drone. That's the end of the movie.
It's really dark.
I
It's really depressing.
I may have shed like at least 2 tears. Like I think I actually cried at the end of the drone because I was
Yeah.
so in love with the husband. And like it's so sad.
The only reason I didn't cry is because of the way she kills him. I can't believe she has such a snarky response because he is saying, as you know, the possessed husband is saying, now I have hands to touch you and I have eyes to see you or whatever. And she goes, you know what you don't have? And he's like, what? She's like, the ability to fly, and then pushes him. And I was like, you just
Yes.
killed your husband. I don't care if he was possessed. Like, yeah. So it was a shock to me though. It was.
I know. I kept thinking she's got to find a way to get him out of there, but nope,
Yeah.
kills him, and then he dies.
And then he dies. And then it just like cuts to credits.
Ugh.
She's lost everything. She's lost her dog, her husband, her slutty neighbor. What else is there to live for?
She does still have that gorgeous house.
That's true. That's nice, I guess.
Yeah. Let's take a short break and then we can talk about the house when we come back. All right, ghosties, we're back with our Gothic roundup. All Gothic films have 4 elements: a girl, a guy, a house, and a haunt. We have a pretty strong girl in this movie, I think, with Rachel.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a Gothic heroine.
Mm-hmm. She's moved into a new place.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband, who means well, is bringing in this technology that she does not like,
Mm-hmm.
but she lets him do it anyway, and then that ends up being a mistake.
Yeah, she's very she's smart. She has a good gut is the word I'm thinking of,
Mm-hmm.
She's creative. She's an architect,
Oh yes, we didn't talk about that, but yeah, she's always
Yeah.
drawing.
It's really not any part of the plot, really.
No.
I think it's only there to explain why she has paint thinner. That's it.
That's a good point. Yeah, because I don't think she even it's not like she designed this house either.
It's never said that she did, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's great. Love her personality. She's not threatened by the slutty neighbor, which I liked.
I would be.
And then our guy, I'm not sure who our guy would be. It could be Chris. It could be Ramsey, the serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
What
The
do you
drone.
think?
Just
The drone.
the drone. Not even just Ramsey, just the drone.
The drone is the guy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is kind of where it's a little iffy because I didn't even put it together. Like your point about Chris bringing in the drone from outside. Like I didn't even think of that aspect of it. So I think you made a good point for Chris being the guy. But obviously Ramsey is sort of the catalyst for all of the dickheadery going on.
Yeah, sometimes the guy means well and just doesn't
kind of messes up.
Doesn't make the right decision.
What does she say? She says boys and their toys. And that's what happened.
I know. I love how gendered it is. My initial thing was like, I don't need a backstory because this movie is just being so stereotypical where the guy likes technology and the girl's like, oh, a drone.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go paint. So,
right, yeah.
I didn't need any more than that.
Boys and their toys.
Yeah. You never see it. What, the drone's not pink? This girls don't use drones.
The drone gonna help me pick out because even when he finds it, he says, guess what I found in the trash? A pair of Louboutins or whatever.
What a woman. Exactly.
Yeah, right. So such a girly girl.
Yes. So we do have this beautiful house, and again, since there's literally no information about this movie on the internet, I have no idea where this house is. It's got to be in California somewhere. It's probably a house that, like, I don't know, the filmmaker's, like cousin's aunt owns or something, and they're like, she's gonna be away for a week, and you can just come in and we can film this movie. Like,
or they like rented it on Airbnb. They found a double deal because the slutty neighbor needed a house too.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean everything's done just like on location. Like they're clearly filming in this house, in the street.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's really not a whole lot of scenes that take place outside of it besides, like, I think you briefly see the police station. I don't even know if you see inside of it. Do you? Maybe you do briefly.
I think we see a nondescript interrogation room.
Yeah. And I bet it's the same room that they used for the PI's like bathroom because that's just a gray wall room.
Oh, it really could be.
Yeah. Yeah. So really it's only the house that we have to work off of. And yeah, it looks like sunny California, a lot of glass.
Lots of glass, very modern. I love
Yeah.
that they have a balcony.
Yes. I don't think they have a pool, but the neighbor does.
Corinne has a beautiful pool, and she
Really
loves to
nice pool.
sunbathe topless out by the pool.
As she should.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I needed a Corinne backstory. Like, I wanna know, she must be divorced maybe
Yes.
twice, and
Yeah.
this is money that she's gotten from a husband, perhaps. Maybe she's been
Right.
trying to be a Real Housewife of Beverly Hills, but they just haven't called her yet.
I would die for her to be on that.
She'd be great.
Yeah. Absolutely. She'd be hitting on all of their husbands.
Very witty, very shady.
Yeah.
Such a treat. And then last but not least, we have our haunt, a drone. It's right there in the
A
title,
possessed
The
drone.
Drone.
The
The
drone.
Drone.
Oh,
Possessed by the soul of a serial killer.
truly. I don't know what part of the movie it is, but one of my favorite scenes is they cut to the drone and it's in a rocking chair. And I mean this with all earnesty. Like, this is the most truthful thing I've ever said on this podcast. I think that that scene is just as, if not more effective than the mother reveal in Psycho. It is so good. It is so shocking in a way that I couldn't stop thinking about it for days. That scene to me was probably how people felt watching Psycho in the theaters, like for weeks after. Like, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant haunt. So good.
I love that. And I think that's right after the drone kills Corinne. And so it's like
Yeah,
smugly just rocking while the cops
rocking.
are
Yeah,
investigating.
that's right. Because it's like cutting from, I think, the cops and like their
Mhm.
conversation, and then it'll cut to the drone and it's getting closer and closer. Phenomenal. Why did they even have that rocking chair in that corner? It doesn't match any of their other furniture. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The drone is in a rocking chair and it's so good.
And it's rocking.
And it's
If we
rocking.
didn't
How?
clarify, it is going back and
It
forth
is
and
going
back and forth.
back and forth. The drone does not have hips. I do not know how it's doing it.
The drone is not moving. Yeah.
The drone is not moving. It's truly peak cinema.
I would have loved to have been on the crew of this movie and to get to be the person who pushes the rocking chair right before they start rolling the camera.
To run out of frame really fast.
Yeah, you gotta push it and go. And they're like, oh, it's rocking a little too much. Take two. Like, don't
Yeah.
push it as hard this time.
Don't do it as
And
hard.
then you go do it, and you're like, oh, not
doing it long
hard
enough
enough.
now.
Like,
Yeah.
take three. And you push it, and they're like, oh, your ankle's still in the scene, still in the shot. We got to do it again.
Yeah. Well, maybe you never see the bottom of the rocking chair, so maybe they're laying on the ground, just like kind of gently tipping it.
Pulling it with a string.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want the movie magic to be revealed to me though.
If we ever get a commentary on the drone, I won't tell you if they talk about how they did that scene. Yeah, we'll skip over that.
Thank you. I want to think it's the drone.
It's the drone. All right, so we also have some bonus gothics in this one. We have, I would say two romantic rivals.
Yes.
Because
That's
the drone is a romantic rival.
Yeah.
And Corinne is a romantic rival.
That's
both husband and
true.
wife have a
They're being
romantic rival.
pulled apart. How tragic. How
I know.
Shakespearean. Really.
If the
Wow.
drone if the drone had just been able to like settle down with Corinne, I bet that both of them would have been really happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Oh
know?
my God, that would be so cute. They could hang out by the pool together.
And then she could have like little baby drones.
Oh, that'd be so nice. She loves having her picture taken. The drone would just fly around her and take her picture.
She could be a cam model like with the drone. Like,
Yes. Oh
yeah.
my God, she would make a killing on OnlyFans with
She really
her drone
would.
boyfriend.
We need the writer of the drone to call us. We'll co-write Drone 2.
We have an idea for a mini series.
The drone should totally be a limited series.
Oh my
Like a
God, it should
Tubi
get,
original.
yeah. I was gonna say it should be prestige, but you're right. It absolutely belongs in Tubi. Tubi has been there for it. Tubi, we have an idea for you.
Yeah. This is, I think, an iconic, like, if you don't know what Tubi is,
Yeah,
the best way to explain it is Tubi is a streaming service where you can watch the drone.
yeah, that's it. That should be their
Th-
tagline.
we have the drone.
We have the drone. We have
And so
drones
many
because
other movies like the drone.
yeah, yeah.
But we've got another bonus gothic that you mentioned.
I think we had at some point, I can't remember what movie it was, but we have talked about rocking chairs before and having that
Mhm.
potentially be a bonus gothic. I wish I could, was it like The Others? I feel like it was some ghost
That's
movie.
what floated up in my mind
Yeah, I think
as
it
the
might have
most
been The
logical.
Others. It was like they
Maybe
opened the
Woman in
door.
Black. Yeah.
Yeah, and the chair was rocking, and they were like, "Oh my God." So rocking
Mhm.
chair, this one definitely has it. And in my
Mhm.
opinion, it's the most iconic rocking chair scene in history. So
Go to Cracker Barrel and just put a drone in every rocking chair on the porch.
I know what I'm doing with my Sunday.
and have breakfast there. They do have good breakfast at the
I
Cracker
love their
Barrel.
breakfast.
Yeah.
Their loaded potato casserole.
Ooh.
Me and the drone are gonna split a dish, a hot dish.
I wonder if yeah, the drone has a mouth, after it
That's
transforms. Like if
true.
it survived, would it have started eating? I don't know. So
Maybe.
many questions.
So many questions for the drone. Yeah, are there any other bonus gothics? What do we usually? There's no Panano. There's
No Panano, sadly. No
no
incest,
incest. Womp womp.
sadly.
The brothers
Yeah.
were pretty close, but yeah, I don't think incest levels.
Not that close.
Yeah, so but
Uh,
two bonus gothics, pretty good, pretty good.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Uh, so we know the drone is a masterpiece, but
Hmm.
is it gothic? What do you think?
I mean, technically no, but I want to say yes. Like, just because, like, I think what stops me is sort of you know, the fact that the house doesn't, it's kind of weird that the movie just happens to start with them moving into this new house. Like, it really isn't, the house doesn't actually have any
Mm,
reason for the plot. It's just they so happen to be moving into this nice house when
that's
everything
true.
gets started. So, like, that's
The
where
drone
I'm
could
kind
have
of like,
flown into any trash can.
exactly. So, I mean, if I'm looking at this like literally like how we'll usually rank things, like our criteria, I would probably say gothish. But because I'm so enamored with it, I want to give it gothic.
I love it. Let's just do it.
Yeah,
Let's call it
let's just do
gothic. The
it.
drone.
Gothic. The
Gothic.
drone. Yeah,
Yes. Modern gothic horror.
yeah,
Technology at its best.
truly. I mean, uh, what a move over Blade Runner. We have a new high fantasy tech
There's a new robot
contender.
in town.
Yeah, there's a new robot. Oh, it's
Ah.
so good.
Well, I can't wait to see what this director does next.
Mhm.
This was 2019. It's been a while. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get something else fun. I think Zombeavers was like 2013 or 2014. So
Oh,
every 5
really
years or
likes
so
to
we're
take his
due. So
time.
we're due for something soon. So
Yeah,
hopefully it will be just as gothic, if not more.
I hope so.
But anything else you want to add about The Drone?
I don't think there's anything else I can add.
The Drone really says it all.
Yes, it
But
speaks for itself.
if it speaks for itself, and if you've somehow listened this far and have not seen The Drone, we watched it free on Tubi, the best streaming service. So check it out. Make sure you put the the
The
drone,
drone.
because there is
Yeah,
another movie called Drone, which
yeah.
does not look fun at all.
No. Also, there's the drone that saved Christmas, which I did try to watch. I couldn't finish it, but maybe for a bonus Christmas episode, we'll try to tackle the drone that saved Christmas.
Oh, I would love to know if that's gothic.
I think that we should watch it and just pretend it's a sequel to this.
Just pretend it's the same drone. That's all we have to do
It's
is
the
just pretend it's
same
the same drone. The same drone.
drone.
Well, I can't wait to see what the drone does next as well. But but thank you, Amanda, and thank you, Ghosties, for listening to us break down The Drone. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. There's all sorts of stuff you can do with the podcast now on Spotify if you're on that, or you can rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Drop us an email, sogothicpod@gmail.com, or follow us on Instagram at sogothicpod for hints about what we'll discuss next. Sometimes we do that. But until next time, stay ghosty. Boo bye.
Bye.